everybody, welcome to the show. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new episode. Clearly, you are in need of some more spooky streaming suggestions for the start of your Halloween season, and I am here to give you everything that you need across all your favorite streaming platforms. Folks, now until Halloween, every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'm going to have 12 spooky streaming suggestions for y'all to check out across a multitude of streaming platforms. I'm doing the work so you don't have to. Come back every Wednesday in order to get something new that you can check out every single week. And that doesn't change the fact that I drop countless reviews throughout the week on my channel as well too. If you don't want to miss any of that, you got to get subscribed to my Linktree. And you can do that by going to linktr.ee/T-Scary-Movie. If you get subscribed to my Linktree, that's going to give you access to the YouTube page for the video versions of the show, to your favorite podcasting platforms for the audio-only versions of the show, to my Letterboxd page for my written reviews and movie rankings through the year, to my TikTok page for my short horror content, including movie news and movie premieres, to my Twitch page for my horror gaming, including Phasmophobia and The Thing Remastered, and to my Fangoria shop page, where you can enjoy my 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop, including a yearly subscription to the physical magazine. Take advantage of that right now, folks. The more subscribers I get, the more content I can put out for all of you. And don't forget, this month, our giveaway, we are giving away a Freddy Krueger Toonie Terror action figure. To get entered into that drawing, all you have to do is comment on any video that I release in the month of September. Get a chance to win that, folks. So what are we talking about here tonight? Like I said, I got week 2 of spooky streaming suggestions here for you. But before we get there, I want to quickly back up and jump back onto my review that I did for Speak No Evil. Just in case you missed it, just the other day I posted a review for Speak No Evil, the new adaptation from writer-director James Watkins of Eden Lake fame, who is adapting the 2022 thriller for Blumhouse Productions. Folks, this is again going to feature one of the best performances all year in James McAvoy, who plays a tremendous villain and very akin to his role in Split, seemingly is changing personalities and characters throughout the entire film. It is a masterful performance and you're going to love it. But one thing I didn't hit on in my review that was going through my mind a lot, and I can't believe I forgot about it, and I did want to mention here as well too, is that what makes this film so unique from the original version is the fact that it seems that this was made to be some kind of summer popcorn flick compared to the original version that we got. If you've seen the original Speak No Evil, you know that that is a harrowing film that just rises in tension throughout the entire runtime until we get to the absolute bonkers finale that that film holds. This film here, while the tension does rise with it, there's not the same sense of like harrowing danger or like just that sense of dread that we get for the original film. And that seems very much purposeful because we get a lot of the same beats that we had in the original film, and a lot of the dialogue very much telegraphs what we're going to see over the course of the film itself. But based on the audience's reaction to a lot of the dialogue and the way that the climax in the remake is set up, I have to wonder if maybe Blumhouse had told Watkins that they want this to be a little bit more accessible for audiences, that they don't want them walking out of this movie feeling like they just got punched in the gut, which is what you're going to do if you watch the original version, no matter how good it is. And it is an incredible film. So I have to imagine if they wanted to just put maybe a little bit more uplifting of a message in that movie. And no, the movie as a whole isn't that much more uplifting than the original version or anything, but it does play different in tone. And if you see it, it's enough to where it does feel different from the original version, but it's because it doesn't carry like the same kind of heavy lifting that the original version does. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. If you get a chance to go and see it this weekend, let me know in the comment section what you're thinking, like whether or not you enjoy it, but if that different tone works for you. I'm dying to know. Let me know that in the comment section here, folks. All right, folks, let's get into those spooky streaming suggestions. We're gonna get started here with Netflix, and my first suggestion for you is Dave Franco's The Rental. If you haven't seen this film before, it focuses on two couples who go on a relaxing vacation together, only to find out that they're being stalked and hunted by a serial killer who might not let them get to the end of their vacation days. Now, the film is a lot more serious than that description gives it to, and it features a fantastic cast that includes Dan Stevens, Jeremy Allen White, Alison Brie, and Sheila Vand. The cast does a great job in this. It's kind of crazy to see just how synonymous with horror Dan Stevens really has been in the last decade. And there are a lot of bangers that he's been in as well too. The Rental not being any exception at all. Dave Franco knows how to carry tension here in this film, as it's a very, very small and limited cast. So we can't exactly kill off characters too quickly, or else we're going to kind of get to a climax a lot faster than what we probably expect to, which is, I know, is dirty and funny when you think about everything I just got done saying. But the whole idea is that it's a slow burn, building tension as these characters start to turn on each other, and there are other issues beyond somebody out there watching and stalking them that they're going to be set to deal with. That ends up dividing this group and adding so much conflict to them that when people start dying, you kind of take it a little bit personally, because they're never going to be able to work out the other shit that they've been arguing about for the last 90 minutes or so. This movie absolutely has some chills to it, but it doesn't revel in brutality or violence or gore or anything. Watch the end credits, because there's some creepy stuff going on in there for sure as well too. But this is a strong debut from Dave Franco that is a good way to continue your spooky season while you're waiting for some more brutality to hit you here, folks. Go and check out The Rental. My second film for you is Life. Now, you have probably seen advertisements on this across a lot of streaming platforms, as this has been a big winner for quite a few years at this point now. If you haven't seen this one, this is the 2017 hit starring Rebecca Ferguson, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Ryan Reynolds about a group of astronauts aboard a space station who find a living organism in their soil samples and find out after a little experimenting that organism wants to kill all of them and make its way to Earth. It'll be up to this group of astronauts to find a way to stop it so they don't endanger the entire human race. Now, this film is very, very much a sci-fi horror crossover, so those of y'all who are looking for some light scares but don't really want to worry about everything that comes with just a full-on horror movie, this might be the way to go for you. I will say though that our creature in this, Calvin, the life form, the organism, whatever you want to call it, that's hunting down our astronauts, is still incredibly terrifying though. It very much plays a bit like The Thing without Calvin going around and making doubles or taking on the form of anybody else out there, but it's still a really, really creepy situation, and the way that Calvin dispatches a number of these characters is quite shocking. The ending is an all-timer for sure. It's a straight up shock to the system, but again, you're gonna get light chills, kind of like The Rental, to where you're not diving 100% too deep into the horror that you all know to come and love and expect. So you can check out Life in The Rental right now on Netflix, folks. Moving on to Tubi, the first film I have for you is Demons. Now, y'all know that I love me a good zombie film. And I love even more when it's a one-location zombie film where the characters are holing up, just trying to survive the night or a selection of days at that point, and they start to turn on each other, and seeing how that all plays out. I find that to be exciting just because I love the different locations. I think that's why so many people love Dawn of the Dead, because of the fact that these characters are trapped in a shopping mall, trying to fend off zombies. Giving more interesting locations like that always works. And the story of Demons focuses on a group of moviegoers who end up at the theater for a free screening, and unfortunately that screening summons bloodthirsty demons who want to kill them all. Now, the reason why I reference zombie films is because these demon films really work the same way, to where if they bite you, if they scratch you, you end up turning into a demon yourself, and you turn on everyone else. And the way that these demons look and they're depicted, they very much look like zombies in a way as well too. This movie works so well in addition to any other zombie film that you've seen. If you've been looking for a new edition that actually kind of feels modern, but it's got that great 80s look to it, Demons is really going to give you what you want. Now, it is gory for sure, it is brutal for sure, but it's actually kind of funny as well, and it does have some genuine scares. I think the design of a lot of the demons in this is terrifying. I think the mere thought of the plot and the way that this all works is scary as hell as well too. This one and Demons 2 are ones that really actually scare me when I still watch them. You gotta catch it on streaming, y'all. Go and check out Demons, and check out Demons 2 if you can do that as well. I like Demons 2 just a little bit more. My other suggestion is The Exorcist 3. Now, I have talked about that film on this show here before. I have gone on record and been as crazy to say that I do think that it is the best Exorcist film in the entire franchise. I really, really do. I have a lot of love for the original film, but I do think the third movie trumps that. If you haven't seen that before, we find a police detective hunting down a serial killer responsible for a number of murders in his cities, seemingly calls back on an older case involving a young girl who was possessed by a demon at one time. That is The Exorcist 3. Folks, this movie is Zodiac meets The Exorcist. That is literally what this film is. And rather than take the story that we got in that first film, so we're focusing on this young girl who's been possessed by a demon and the battle that's coming with these two priests and the demon Pazuzu. The grand battle between heaven and hell and everything in between. A phenomenal, phenomenal story. The Exorcist 3 instead shifts it over to a not relatable story, but a story that at least at the time I think would be a little bit more captivating for the audiences, comparing what's going on in real life. That there's a serial killer on the loose, and the way that this serial killer is able to get their victims doesn't make sense. That there's a supernatural tinge to it, and as we keep investigating more and more and more and more, we figure out that this might not be an ordinary human being. Now, we get some wonderful performances here in The Exorcist 3, including Brad Dourif, who just goes off the rails here with his performance in this one. And if you haven't seen it before, it is past our 10-year rule, but I feel like out of a little bit of respect and the reverence I have for this movie, I don't really want to add spoilers into it. You do get yourself some great demonic possession in it, and The Exorcist 3 features one of the best jump scares of all time. So there are some legitimate scares in here, but again, those of y'all who are looking for a more sensible story, this is going to add that to you. It's very much like David Fincher's Zodiac, to where we're getting this great story about a serial killer and the cop just trying to stop him, almost in a way like Fallen. Like, if you've seen the one with Denzel Washington I've talked about before, where the killer's just switching body to body to body to body, very much seems that Fallen was inspired a lot by The Exorcist 3, and you really, really should check it out because, folks, it is better than the first one. It really, really is, honestly. So, those are my two suggestions for you there on Tubi. Moving on to Prime Video. Y'all, it is a favorite of mine that I'm so happy to suggest for you again this year. Creepshow 2. Folks, this is one of the best anthology films of all time, and while everybody raves night and day about the original Creepshow, and rightfully so, there are some great stories in that, folks, you cannot beat The Raft. I am so sorry. You can take any anthology story that you want, and I will put The Raft against that any day, any time of the week. The Raft is the best anthology story that has ever been told in a film. That is my personal opinion. That's how strongly I feel about that. It is that good. Creepshow, though, if you haven't seen the TV show, if you haven't seen the movies before, is basically set up like Tales from the Crypt, to where we have our host, the Creep, telling us a few horrific tales about people getting into vastly different situations involving monsters and spirits and creatures and killers, all these sorts of things. And Creepshow 2 focuses on 3 tales this time, giving us a little bit more time here. Old Chief Woodenhead, about a group of young punks who end up murdering the wrong couple and face the wrath of a wooden dummy brought to life. The Raft, that tells the story of a group of friends out on summer break who go and visit a lake, only to find out that this lake is inhabited by a creature from the depths. And The Hitchhiker, a story about a woman who's racing home to beat her husband so he doesn't learn of her affair, hits and kills a man, and finds that his ghostly presence will haunt her all the way home. Folks, again, 3 great stories, with The Raft being one of the best anthology stories of all time that to this day still leaves me chilled after I've seen it. Again, if you've seen Tales from the Crypt, if you watched Twilight Zone, Tales from the Dark Side, you kind of have an idea of what you're getting into, but I do feel this is the best collection of stories that you could possibly get here, folks. Creepshow 2, go and check that out on Prime Video. My other suggestion for you is Barbarian. Folks, it's crazy to think that we are still living in a world to where Barbarian hasn't gotten a physical release, but when we were all stuck at home and not able to really go anywhere, and a lot of the studios releasing films through the streaming services, Barbarian was one of those high-profile releases about two strangers who end up accidentally booking the same Airbnb, and there's a question of, is everybody who they say they actually are, while this house contains much more sinister secrets to it. Now, saying anything else would be a disservice to you, because it really is worth seeing and catching the pure shock you're gonna get when you find out this movie kicks into a second gear. But y'all, I can't even say anything. We got Horror King Justin Long in that there. You got Bill Skarsgård in there too. Georgina Campbell. Like, we have so, again, another film with a great cast. But to say anything else will really take away from the enjoyment and the shock you're going to get on your face when you actually get a chance to see it. Go check it out right now. Barbarian and Creepshows 2 on Prime Video. What else do we got for you here, y'all? On Peacock, Night of the Living Dead. Not the original. We are talking Tom Savini's early 90s remake. Now, this is one of my favorite zombie movies of all time. It's one of my favorite horror films of all time as well. I have reverence for George Romero's original version. I really, really do. But catching this film first, putting Tony Todd in the role of Ben, having Patricia Tallman there, doing an amazing job in our lead role of our heroine, was the perfect fit for it. It still was able to tell a lot of the story that Romero told in his original film about race relations and the way we looked at black people in this part of the country. But then the zombies just come off scarier. The way that our human characters interact with each other and turn on each other is much worse. Like, the original version honestly seems like there's a little bit more respect and understanding between all the characters, whereas this remake has much more bickering and has them at odds much more than what you would possibly expect. It is more of a downer story in telling how all these characters eventually get dispatched as well. I think that Savini was the right guy to retell this story, and it's very, very telling that the numerous attempts to like redo this and make sequels that are other Night of the Living Dead films after this just have not panned out. Yes, Romero's other work has been really, really good, but anybody who has made another Night of the Living Dead film, it just hasn't reached the heights that Savini's film has, or even half the heights that Romero's has either. Check this one out, y'all. It is my preferred version over Romero's original. And my other suggestion to you here would be Cheap Thrills. Now, this is a movie I saw years and years back, randomly catching this one on Netflix, actually, when it was over there. And it tells the story of a couple of losers down on their luck, trying to find an easy way to make some money, and they get an offer to basically do more unhinged acts, more and more and more, and each time they do, they'll get paid handsomely for it. Now, when you see it, you can understand what we're likely leading to and what these characters are likely going to end up having to do by the time the film is said and done. But seeing the depravity that these characters will go through in order to make money just really, really socks you right in the chest, honestly. It takes the breath right out of you. The cast includes Pat Healy from We Need to Do Something. We have Sarah Paxton, David Koechner, Ethan Embry. It's a really, really fun and collective cast that we have here for it. Pat Healy definitely is the standout of the story, though, as you wouldn't really expect the kind of performance and now let me take that back, because that's unfair to him. Pat Healy's a great actor, but his character, you wouldn't expect this character to do the things that the character ends up doing, and that is the sign of a great performance from a great actor. Definitely one that's going to leave you feeling off at the end of it for sure, and kind of questioning what you might do for money yourself, but it's one that you do not want to miss at all, folks. So again, on Peacock, go and check out the Night of the Living Dead remake and Cheap Thrills. Almost finished up here, folks. Moving on to Screambox. My first suggestion for you is Marcus Dunstan's The Collector. Now, this film comes from one of the godfathers of the Saw franchise. So right off the jump there, you can expect gore, you can expect blood, you can expect all the visceralness that you would think in a film from somebody who's worked on Saw. But there's actually a strong story in this as well. I've said that the Saw franchise actually does a really, really good job with their characters and their stories and building this mythology throughout all of them. And that's not lost on me here with The Collector either, telling this story about a thief who's looking to pay back some debts that he owes, and unfortunately chooses a house that has also been chosen by a serial killer known as The Collector. Folks, this is a brutal, brutal film. Imagine if Jigsaw actually was like a legitimate serial killer, because there's always that argument that Jigsaw doesn't actually kill anybody, he just puts these people in traps. It's not The Collector. The Collector actually does his own dirty work in this case here. So if Jigsaw was up and moving, this is what you would get from this film. And honestly, in a way, it almost comes off like Terrifier does as well too, because The Collector does seem to revel in his mayhem the way that Art the Clown does as well. So this is not for the faint of heart for sure, y'all, but if you want something to follow up Saw that has a little bit more bite to it, this is the one that you need to check out. My other suggestion for you here on Screambox is Hatchet 2. Now, I've gone through the entire Hatchet series on this show before. I think Victor Crowley is a fun horror villain. I think that it's just insanity, and because we're getting Kane Hodder playing that character, you're basically taking Jason to the max. Like, y'all know what I'm doing in that case there. But you're taking Jason to the max and you're turning him up by 100 with all the kills, the blood, the gore, and guts that you're getting in these films. And Hatchet 2 is really where I feel they got the mix of everything perfect in that. In terms of like the horror stars who show up in this one, in terms of the blood and the gore, the way they follow up certain beats from the first movie. This is more of a complete film than the original one is. And that Victor Crowley kind of goes just a little bit off the rails with as well too. So you can go check out Hatchet 2, and you can check out The Collector on Screambox right now. And to finish things off for you folks, over on Shudder, I want you to go check out Salem's Lot. We've just got it announced that the new Salem's Lot adaptation will be debuting on Max next month, folks. We are getting that one here on, I believe it's October 4th. So just a few weeks away here. If you want to get in the mood and you're clearly not going to go check out the Rob Lowe one on Prime Video that I suggest over and over and over, then you really do want to go and check out this version, the original one, on Shudder. Go and check out Barlow, see that Count Orlok appearance that he's rocking. That'll definitely bring some scares for you for sure. And my last suggestion for you, Deadstream. This is a movie that I reviewed on the show a few years back as well too, about a video blogger who's seeking to revamp his image, decides to go and do a live stream from a haunted house, and regrets it from the moment he stepped foot in the door. This movie is gross, but at the same time, it is actually scary. And as a big found footage film fan, this was exactly what I was looking for, because it's funny and fast paced. There's not really a slow burn to it. And when shit gets crazy, shit gets absolutely wild, y'all. This is the found footage film that you're looking for if you're wanting some legitimate scares, but it moves at a fast pace. This is the one for you. So folks, there you have it. 12 more spooky streaming suggestions for you to go and check out. Go and watch them. Let me know in the comment section what you think of any of them. Do you like them? Do you hate them? I want to know if I'm off base with any of the suggestions I'm giving y'all here this month. But stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button because I got more great stuff coming for you. That's it tonight though, y'all. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared. Boy here is a big fan of Fangoria. So, if you want to check out the world's best horror magazine that's out there, get a chance to get yourself your own subscription, which I just got my first one back in 2022, and I don't regret it for a second. But if you want your own Fangoria subscription, or you like the Fangoria merchandise, then head over to the Fangoria shop and use my link if you want to save yourself some money, folks. That's an easy one to remember. Just go to shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW. Again, that's shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW, or use my specific code AXDEW at checkout. You can save 20% off your entire order, and that implies 2 a subscription and a one-time time orders as well. You don't want to miss out, folks, because with the magnitude of horror movies we've had released in the last few years, and with what we have on the horizon, Fangoria is going to be your #1 source for all that great, juicy, bloody information in the world of horror. So again, head to shop.fangoria.com. Hey there, folks! Thanks for tuning in to Watch This Scary Movie. I appreciate you checking out another review or movie news, whether we're talking movies, TV shows, books, or games, whatever, it's all scary. Remember, you can check out new episodes every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the YouTube page for video. That's youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. Again, youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. And you can check out the audio version on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Just search T Watch the Scary Movie or TWASM. Don't forget, my name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.